Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's announcement. My name is Bob Harvey. I'm the president and CEO of the Greater Houston Partnership, and we're broadcasting live from the George R. Brown Convention Center overlooking beautiful Discovery Green in downtown Houston. Before we get started, I would like to direct you to the Q&A form at the bottom of your screen. The feature is reserved for members of the media, and questions will be addressed at the end of today's program. So for those of you who are not familiar with the Greater Houston Partnership, we're the Greater Houston region's principal business organization. Think of us as the Chamber of Commerce, the Economic Development Organization, and the World Trade Center, because those three organizations came together 31 years ago to form the partnership. Today, our strategy is focused on building a diverse 21st century economy in Greater Houston, enhancing the quality of life, and importantly, creating pathways for opportunity for all Houstonians. So let's talk about Houston just for a minute. As you know, we're the nation's fourth largest city. We're a vibrant metro powered by one of the youngest, fastest growing, and most diverse populations of any city in the world. And over the past 25 years, our economy has diversified to include leading positions, of course, in energy, but also life sciences, manufacturing, aerospace, trade, and logistics. We are the energy capital of the world. Houston is the headquarters. We like to call it the intellectual capital of virtually every segment of the energy industry. But we also know that the world is changing rapidly. Climate change is real. Its impact on global populations and the global economy is undeniable. But at the same time, despite the current downturn associated with COVID-19, the demand forecast for energy continues to rise as the quality of life improves for billions of people living around the world in emerging economies. So we believe Houston has a unique position to lead the transition to a cleaner, more efficient, and more sustainable low-carbon world. And as the energy capital of the world, we have the opportunity and the responsibility to tackle this head on. Now, for many years, a great deal of the Cleantech activity was occurring on either coast. But what companies found was that at some point they needed to bring those new technologies to scale. And what better place than Houston for that? Because we have the expertise, the know-how to take new technology and apply it at industrial scale. Now, Houston is already leading the way in the digitization of oil and gas, but it's become a hub of renewables activity and the development of carbon capture technology, just to name a couple. We're the home to major energy R&D centers and corporate venture capital arms such as Chevron Technology Ventures and Shell Technology Ventures, and a range of VC-backed technology energy startups. In fact, a large number of the startups competing in the Rice Business Plan competition later this week focus on energy technology and fighting climate change. Now, Houston is truly the hub of the global industry, as I mentioned, and there's no better place for the next generation of energy leaders to create and scale innovations that will change the world.
Houston, Texas, a city built on innovation, opportunity, leadership, a city known globally as the energy capital of the world. We create the energy that makes modern living possible, but the world is changing, and humankind faces a dual challenge. Economic opportunity and quality of life are improving around the globe. To support that growth, we will need more energy, now and for decades to come. At the same time, we must reduce carbon emissions and respond to the effects of climate change. Houston is committed to tackling this dual challenge head on. It is both a responsibility and a great opportunity. We're ready to create energy that's cleaner, more affordable, and even more reliable. Oil and gas companies are driving efficiency improvements. Leading wind, solar, and biofuels companies already operate from Houston. But we need to scale up technologies that run smarter and more efficiently with a reduced carbon footprint. And we must drive innovations like carbon capture and storage technology. No other city in the world is better positioned than Houston to take this dual challenge and turn it into opportunity. The city of innovators and problem solvers focused on the future. Houston, Texas, leading the global energy transition.
The Greater Houston Partnership is committed to working alongside the business community, elected officials, and others to identify the solutions to meet the dual challenge of meeting the world's increasing needs for energy while lowering the world's carbon footprint. We're dedicated to strengthening Houston's position by attracting innovative companies who share that vision. In just a bit, we'll welcome Emily Reichert, the CEO of Greentown Labs, to the stage. Emily, we are so thrilled that this day has finally come. The partnership began discussions with Greentown Labs about the opportunity here in Houston. It was a year ago, just over a year ago, during CERA Week in 2019. And for the last year, working with Mayor Turner and others in the city, we've worked to make this announcement possible. We're thrilled to welcome North America's largest Cleantech incubator to Houston, which comes at a time of great momentum for Houston's innovation ecosystem and further positions this region as a leader in energy efficiency, transportation, and generation. And as we welcome Greentown Labs to Houston, know that we also are focused on recruiting more of what we call Energy 2.0 companies, the established companies that are shifting their focus to addressing the climate challenge. Now, some may have the misperception that Houston is not a welcoming place for renewables and other non-oil and gas energy companies, but I will tell you that could not be further from the truth. Simply put, we understand energy, and it can be produced efficiently and in a convenient and a sound manner with the use of new technology. I'm excited about Greentown Labs and what they're going to do to accelerate the connections between some of the most innovative clean startups in the world and some of the largest energy companies that are located right here in Houston. And together, that's how we're going to change the world. Now, before Emily comes up, I want to bring up Mayor Sylvester Turner. For those of you who are tuning in across the country, you should know that there are not many mayors like our Mayor Sylvester Turner. He's a native Houstonian. He's a great booster of the city. He's been a great leader, not just in recent weeks, frankly, but in his entire tenure as mayor. He's going to come and talk more about the city's climate action plan, which for some outsiders may sound somewhat anathema to Houston, but it's not at all, because it reflects this commitment that we have as Houstonians to addressing the climate challenge. Mayor, as you come up, I want to thank you for your leadership on this topic and leveraging Houston's position as the global energy capital of the world to be a springboard for how we can lead on the energy transition. Mayor, thank you for coming up.
Let me thank Bob. I thought Bob was going to say that I'm the youngest mayor in the United States of America. But look, let me just say that over the last several years, we have been focused on accelerating the growth of our innovation ecosystem. And we have made some great progress. The groundbreaking of the ION in Midtown, the center of Houston's Innovation Corridor, the great work that the Cannon has been doing on the west side of Houston, a growing number of successful venture-backed startups making a difference across energy, aerospace, and life sciences. A record-breaking year in venture funding with Houston startups raising nearly $550 million last year. National accelerators like Plug and Play, Mass Challenge, Capital Factory out of Austin, and Generator have been flocking to the city of Houston. And today's announcement for the first dedicated clean tech startup incubator in our great city. As Bob Harvey just mentioned, the world around us is changing. Climate change is a real problem, and at the same time, the developing world needs clean, affordable energy. The city recently launched the science-based, community-driven Houston Climate Action Plan to reduce greenhouse gases emissions and meet the Paris Agreement goal of carbon neutrality by 2050 and lead the global energy transition, and quite frankly, we are excited about it. The Climate Action Plan also outlines Houston's role as the energy capital of the world and the global leader of the energy transition. For decades, Houston and the energy industry have been inextricably linked. As a lifelong Houstonian and mayor of our city, I am very proud of our history and proud of the innovation, growth, and prosperity the energy industry brings to our community. As leaders of the energy industry, it is our responsibility to continue this legacy, to develop innovative technologies and practices that will reduce carbon emissions, and we are committed to that goal. While it was historic for Houston to launch its first climate action plan, the real success is when we put that strategy into action. Greentown Labs moving to Houston is proof that we will meet the Climate Action Plan's goal of making Houston a capital of energy innovation. While other cities across the United States have also launched plans to combat climate action, and I applaud them for their initiatives, Houston is a leader and an innovator as we establish bold and achievable goals as the fourth largest city in the United States. I am excited that Greentown Labs, the nation's leading Cleantech Incubator, will launch operations in Houston, their first location outside of Boston. I cannot think of a better place than Houston, Texas, the energy capital of the world, to explore what is next for energy and how Houston can lead the energy transition, which Bob just talked about. With the work that will be done at Greentown Labs, and that is currently taking place across Houston's energy ecosystem, Houston is going to meet that dual challenge and lead the global energy transition. We have the expertise, the know-how, the will, and the can-do spirit to solve this global challenge, and now we have Greentown Labs. It is now my pleasure to introduce Greentown Labs CEO, Emily Reichert. Headquartered in Somerville, Massachusetts, Greentown Labs is a community of bold and passionate entrepreneurs developing technological solutions to the greatest climate and environmental challenge of our time. As the largest clean technology startup incubator in North America, Greentown Labs supports its 100 startups by providing community access to critical resources and connections, in addition to office and prototyping lab space. These startup entrepreneurs are building breakthrough solutions in major greenhouse gas emitting areas, including electricity, transportation, and buildings, which are also a big focus for the Houston Climate Action Plan. Dr. Emily Reichert serves as Chief Executive Officer of Greentown Labs as the company's first employee. Emily has spearheaded the rapid growth of Greentown Labs into a global center for clean technology innovation. Emily has earned international recognition for her leadership in clean tech innovation and entrepreneurship. Thank you for being here in person and for your interest to expand Houston. And let me tell you, we are excited to be working with you, and we believe that the best days in the city of Houston have yet to come. And with working with Greentown Labs, it starts even today. Thank you. Emily.
My name is Emily Reichert, and I'm the CEO of Greentown Labs.
At Greentown Labs, our mission is really to provide startups the community, resources, space, and connections that they need in order to thrive. We have nearly 100 startups, and every one of them is tackling a big challenge to do with climate or environment in 100,000 square feet of space. Greentown Labs has a network of 100 investors, 50 corporate partners, and over 250 manufacturers that we work with to help our startups go from the stage of having a prototype in the lab to being able to test something in a real-world environment with a first customer. Greentown Labs really brings us all together around a really important theme. What can we do through entrepreneurship to address our biggest global challenge, which is climate change?
Good afternoon. My name is Emily Reichert, and I'm the CEO of Greentown Labs. Greentown, as you just heard, is the largest climate tech incubator in North America, and I am honored to be in Houston, Texas today to announce our expansion to the energy capital of the world, soon to be the energy transition capital of the world. Now, before sharing more about Greentown Labs, I'd like to thank our hosts for the amazing work they've done to bring Greentown Labs to Houston, especially Mayor Sylvester Turner and his team, and Bob, Susan, and the whole team at Greater Houston Partnership. Y'all know how to make a new organization feel very welcome. And while we're here for a celebratory purpose today, I'd be remiss if I didn't join the mayor and Bob in acknowledging the many crises in our country, which are very real, both here in Houston and in our home state of Massachusetts. It's been a difficult few months for everyone, and I have to admit, for the Greentown team, staying focused on our mission to drive climate impact through entrepreneurship, partnership, and collaboration has been an essential North Star to help us get through this tumultuous time. But despite the challenges that we're all facing, Greentown Labs remains wholeheartedly committed to our mission and continuing to expand its impact, which is why today, I'm so proud to be here with you all to celebrate the announcement of Greentown Labs' expansion to Houston, Texas. To build on what you just heard in the video, Greentown Labs was founded in 2011 as a grassroots organization with a commitment to a clean tech innovation and collaboration among entrepreneurs. What started with 4 startups simply needing to share the cost of rent has grown into a community of more than 100 early-stage companies working to tackle the world's largest climate and environmental challenges. Since our founding, we have supported more than 280 startups that have collectively created more than 6,500 jobs, raised more than $850 million in capital, and have generated $1.5 billion in regional economic impact. Our headquarters in Somerville, Massachusetts, spans a 100,000 square foot campus comprising prototyping labs, a wet lab, office space, and community space. We're fortunate to have a strong network of investors, corporate partners, and manufacturers that play a critical role in supporting our entrepreneurs and helping their companies to scale. And we hope to continue to build that network with our expansion to Houston. There are a lot of reasons why we chose Houston, Texas as the location for the first ever national expansion of Greentown Labs. First and foremost, we know we can't solve climate change from the US coasts alone, and believe it's critical to engage with major ecosystems around the nation, especially in the middle of our country. Houston has long been known as the energy capital of the world, and we believe it is well positioned to be the energy transition capital of the world. Houston is home to world-leading energy organizations and incredible engineering, strength, talent, and assets that can, and frankly must, be redeployed towards a decarbonized future. And under Mayor Sylvester Turner's leadership, Houston has only accelerated its move in this direction. As the mayor shared, Houston released an ambitious climate action plan on Earth Day of this year, with a goal for the city to be carbon neutral by 2050. The City of Houston municipality is already powered 92% by renewable energy and will soon reach 100% with the help of our founding partner, NRG, and will be the first major US city to achieve this goal. And Houston is already home to more than 130 solar and wind companies, like our founding partner, Sunnova, and has the largest concentration of renewable energy companies anywhere in the world. We applaud Mayor Turner and the City of Houston's leadership in taking action on climate, and we hope to be a catalyst for continuing to drive progress on the energy transition and help the city reach its new 2050 goal through the deployment of innovative new clean technologies, some of which we hope will come from Greentown Labs. Because by opening Greentown Labs Houston, we aim to build a bridge between startups in the Boston area and in Houston, to have the best and brightest engineering and business minds working together on developing the solutions we need to address climate change. Greentown Houston will be the city's first climate and clean tech focused startup incubator, and we hope to be able to open our doors to Houston entrepreneurs in spring of 2021. Greentown Houston will include more than 30,000 square feet of prototyping lab, office, and community space for about 50 young companies. And we are already welcoming startups to our Houston community, so if you're interested in learning more, please don't hesitate to contact us through our website. Greentown Houston is being launched today by a network of civic and business leaders that represent a broad community of energy companies and organizations committed to growing the ecosystem of early-stage climate and clean tech startups here in Houston. Today's announcement would not be possible without the support of the City of Houston, the Greater Houston Partnership, and our founding partners, Chevron, NRG and Reliant, Shell, BHP, Vinson and Elkins, Engie North America, Sonova, Direct Energy, the AmFam Institute, SCF Partners, and Tudor, Pickering, and Holt. And I'm proud to have several of our inaugural Houston Advisory Board members with me here today. Barbara Berger of Chevron and Gwinnell Avis Hewitt of Engie North America, both of whom will share a few words with us later today, as well as James Garrett of Vinson and Elkins, David Baldwin of SCF Partners, Michael Skelly of Lazard Partners, Tim Copra of MDA and Blue Bear Capital. Thank you so much for your early support and founding partnership of Greentown Labs. You know, today feels a bit reminiscent to me of another warm, it's very warm in here, and sunny day 7 years ago when we first announced that Greentown Labs would be opening a clean tech incubator in Somerville, Massachusetts, alongside our very own mayor there, Joseph Curtatone. Our hometown of Somerville and Mayor Joe, as we call him, have been enthusiastic supporters of Greentown Labs since 2013 and critical partners in the growth of our organization over the years. Mayor Joe was first inaugurated in 2004. Now in his 8th term, he is the City of Somerville's longest-serving chief executive. And Mayor Joe, like Mayor Turner, is a climate leader. Like Houston, Somerville also has the goal to reach carbon neutrality by 2050 and released its first ever comprehensive climate change plan in 2018, which was announced from the stage at Greentown Labs. And while our mayor, our first mayor, couldn't join us today, he wanted to share a few words with the leaders of the city where Greentown Labs will set up its first location outside of the Boston area. And now to Mayor Joseph Curtatone.
Houston, greetings from Somerville, Massachusetts. I know exactly how excited you are today because we were in your shoes back in 2013 when Greentown Labs came to our city. Greentown Labs is at the forefront of innovating how we create energy, how we consume it, and how we do all of that in a way that protects our climate. They are leading the way in a world that needs bold ideas put into action. And this is some of the most consequential work being done anywhere, and I am thrilled that some of Houston's brightest minds will be given a place to tackle some of the biggest problems that face humanity. You're also getting a great local citizen. Greentown Labs just doesn't set up shop in your community. It participates. The area surrounding the old envelope factory they moved into has become one of the hottest spots in Somerville. Part of our community's rebirth has sprung up around them. They incubate a lot more than just technology. And I promise you, as excited as you are today, you're going to be even happier in a few years. You're getting something special in Greentown Labs. And I suspect that this may be the start of a beautiful relationship between our two cities. So congratulations to all involved. And let's save this planet together.
A big thank you to Mayor Curtatone for sharing his remarks with us and for his continued partnership with Greentown Labs. We hope that Mayor Curtatone and Mayor Turner have the opportunity to meet in person someday, perhaps at a Greentown Labs event sometime in the future. And I believe we have already invited, or will invite, Mayor Turner to speak at our demo day this fall. But Greentown Labs wouldn't be where it is today without the support of many key partners, and our expansion to Houston is no exception. Specifically, I want to call out Barbara Berger, president of Chevron Technology Ventures, who has been an early and amazing advocate for Greentown's expansion to Houston. And Chevron has been a supporter and a partner of Greentown Labs since 2014, when they invested in one of Greentown Labs' founding companies. Over the years, this partnership has grown, and Barbara, who will speak next, has been especially instrumental in bringing Greentown to Houston. Barbara is also hands down an amazing champion for the city of Houston too, and is actively engaged in leading the charge to grow the city's innovation ecosystem. Barbara, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, it is my pleasure to be at the event to be able to convey publicly our express support for Greentown Labs expansion to Houston. We've been wanting to do this for about 15 months, so I'm glad this day has come. So let me speak on behalf of Chevron, Houston Exponential, and finally myself. So if I start with Chevron, we're not headquartered in Houston, but some 8,000 of us call it home, and many of our businesses are located here. And so what we do in a community is try to be a responsible and an integral part of all facets of the community. And innovation is part of that. So in our strategic plan as a company in Houston, innovation is one of 3 key pillars. One of the principal vehicles for innovation in Chevron is Chevron Technology Ventures. I have the privilege of being the president of the organization. We've been around for 21 years. And our whole role is to try to access external innovation that can help solve the problems of our company and the opportunities in the future. But we can't do that alone. We do it obviously with startups and external innovation, but incubators and accelerators play a critical ingredient to building that ecosystem and supporting those companies in their journey. And Greentown has a proven track record of developing a robust ecosystem. We know that because, as Emily said, we've been involved in Greentown's programs and their journey in the Boston area since 2014. And when asked if they could do anything better, the only problem was geography. And we seem to have solved that today. So we've had experience there. And we look forward to working with the other sponsors and all the members of the Houston innovation ecosystem, because it does take a community. So on behalf of Houston Exponential, we're excited about Greentown Labs expansion into Houston. We have an integrated plan that came out of great work that was commissioned by both the mayor's office and the Greater Houston Partnership, and we knew that we needed a wide variety of ingredients to build on this ecosystem, and we do have momentum. But Greentown is in a critical part of this, and everyone said they're the largest Cleantech Incubator, and now they will be the first one in Houston. There's really no better place for Greentown to choose for its first expansion than the energy capital of the world. particularly at a time when we assess what does it mean to be the energy capital and what does the world need relative to energy, a growing demand for reliable, affordable, and ever cleaner energy, and particularly as those of us in Houston understand the leadership role we can and must take in addressing climate change. So now from my own personal perspective, first of all, Emily's PhD in chemistry, so that's pretty good. If you know anything about me, you know why. The team at Greentown has taken a really thoughtful approach to this expansion. They involved their board early on, and it was critical for their board to meet some of the key leaders here in Houston. So it was a thoughtful engagement of ideas and making sure that there was a cultural and a visionary fit between Greentown and Houston. Emily and the Greentown team have had a broad engagement with stakeholders in Houston, so they understand that they are joining an ecosystem that's already moving forward, and so it was really important that they figured out how they would fit in. There's a detailed execution plan and a collaborative mindset. So all the elements that increase the probability and chance that this will be a very successful part of our ecosystem. I'm really glad, Emily, that today has come, and I look forward to all that you bring to the Houston ecosystem and to the big challenges that we face as a world relative to climate change. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you for being a wonderful champion for Greentown Labs and for Houston. But next, I'm excited to welcome another founding partner in the form of Gwinnell Avis-Hewitt, President and CEO of ENGIE North America, a founding partner of Greentown Labs Houston. ENGIE is also a longtime partner of Greentown Labs, and we are so glad to be deepening our relationship with ENGIE as we set up a new location in Houston. For those who may not know ENGIE, the company is headquartered in France, and it is the largest independent power producer and energy efficiency services provider in the world. Nearly 100% of the company's power generation portfolio is low carbon or renewable. Please help me welcome Gwinnell to the podium.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Mayor Turner, and my fellow colleagues from the energy field, and all of you that are engaged into this Greentown Labs new event for today. As a representative of ENGIE, a company committed to the zero carbon transition, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to be here today to welcome Greentown Labs to the Houston area. We've been a partner of Greentown Labs since 2015. We know how bright they are to come up with new innovative solutions and to keep the momentum going on. Be aware that ENGIE, for example, like 4 years ago, we've been focusing quite much on thermal generation, and we did a huge transformation on innovation, on renewables, on energy efficiency. And that's where we focus nowadays. That's where we focus, because this is the future. That's why it was so important for us to partner with Greentown Labs on the long term, not just 1 year, but on the long term. We've been there in 2015, and we continue to support Greentown Labs because this is our mission. This is truly our mission, and we can think that all together we have a role to play to design this new environment, to design a new environment that will be carbon neutral. It's not just one player. It's a full ecosystem. Numbers of industries, numbers of startups, politicians, we need to be all together. And that's the kind of area where Greentown Labs can make a difference. So that's why since the beginning we wanted to be there, and we will be there on the long term. Just wanted to share that with you, and you can count on ENGIE in this journey. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Gwinnell. And it's great having you and ENGIE in Houston. And I'm still waiting for the first y'all out of you, Gwinnell, but I know it's coming. And I want to thank Emily and Mayor Turner and Barbara. Thank you for being here as well. Now, we'd like to move on to the Q&A portion of our program for the media. As a reminder, we're accepting questions via the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. And we have members of our staff who will ask the questions on your behalf. So let's get started with the first question.
This question is from Moody Sixel from the Houston Chronicle for Emily. Where will the lab be located and how much are you planning to spend to get it started?
Well, I have to say I can't today reveal where the lab will be located. That will be the subject of a future announcement, but I can say that it will be near to downtown. That's about as far as I can share at this moment. In terms of how much it costs, our budget at this moment, our goal is to raise $7.2 million. And that should allow us to run our operations for the first 3 years, as well as fit out a space that will allow entrepreneurs to do prototyping, office, and community space.
We have a question from Fox 26 in Houston. How many jobs will the expansion bring to Houston?
That's a good question. The number of jobs I will estimate by what we've seen at Greentown Labs in Boston. As I mentioned, over the course of our lifetime there in Boston, we've created about, or I should say our companies have created about 6,500 jobs. On average, we see companies going through Greentown Labs tend to be on average 5 to 6 people, so if you assume 50 companies, we're talking 200 to 300 jobs whenever we are 100% full.
I think that may have been our last question.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's wrap it up. Well, again, we'll wrap it up. Thank you very much. Let us know if there is a last question, but again, I'd like to thank Emily so much for the announcement, the decision, the commitment to bring Greentown Labs to Houston. Thank you, Mayor Turner, for your leadership on this front and many others. And again, thank you to all of our speakers this afternoon. To the reporters who joined us today, our team will be in touch shortly with high-resolution photos and a video of the event. Again, thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Have a great afternoon. Have a great week.